how to help your teenager build a healthy identity. I was answering a question from a teen about how to manage comparing themselves with comparisons with other people, especially on social media. So this is for you as a parent. Parenting is not easy. Not today, it has never been, but the dynamics are a lot different today because we live in this world where likes, trends, opinions, and peer pressure are shaping how our young people see themselves and how they think about themselves. But here is the good news, and I like to remind every parent that you are more influential than you think in the life of your teenager. You have a lot more influence than you are willing to acknowledge and exercise. All right, so let's talk about how to help your teenager build a solid identity that is resistant to peer pressure and resistant to comparisons on so many different levels. How to build an identity that is anchored on truth and a genuine connection with you as a parent. You want to understand the crisis of identity and how it affects your teenager. The world your teenager is living in is driven by social media, it's driven by celebrity culture, and then of course there's a traditional academic competition that comes with it, but there's also the temptation for digital perfection. And young people are constantly asking themselves, okay, am I enough? Do I matter? Does anyone really see me? And all of that. So if you are not answering those questions with truth, chances are someone else will, and they may not be answering it well. I guarantee you they are not likely answering it with truth. So instead of falling into that temptation to reflect the pressures of society, you want them to fit in, you want them to succeed, you want them to be the best. On the surface, there's nothing wrong with all of that, except that now you want them to succeed not on their own terms, but on the terms dictated by the world, dictated by peer pressure and every other thing external. Your teen does not need that kind of mirror. They don't need you to mirror or reflect that pressure that is external. They need you to be an anchor. And being an anchor means that you learn to speak more to their identity than you speak to their performance. You affirm them for who they are more than just what they do, because being precedes doing. And then you also want to reflect that symbol of stability, being steady even when they get emotional, when they are confused, and when they seem like they are lost. Okay, so you want to affirm them for who they are and not the things that they do. You say things like you are more than your grades and mean it, because your child is more than their grades. Admire and encourage them to think through difficult things. Admire how they practice thinking through difficult situations and solving problems from their own ingenuity. Okay, you want to speak to the fact that they are becoming somebody that you as a parent is proud to know, not just to raise them. So those are the kind of words that plant the seeds in the life of your teenager that peer pressure and social media cannot joke. All right. Also very important in the conversation is that you have to model your own identity. Let your child see how you deal with pressure, how you deal with failure and comparisons yourself. They will learn to copy your courage a lot more than they listen to your command. And like I said earlier, you have more influence than you tend to acknowledge, than you may want to acknowledge. You are one of the loudest voices in the heart of your teenager, even when they pretend not to hear that voice. you are one of the loudest voices. And so you want to make that voice a voice of affirmation. You want to make that voice a voice of reassurance. You want to use that voice with wisdom, affirming the truth of the identity and anchoring that identity on something that is true. So remind them about who they are and who they are becoming. But by the way, have you signed your teenager up for the next cohort of Thrive Leadership School? We'll begin on Monday, the 9th of June to Friday, the 13th of June. It's a 5-day coaching program for teenagers and preteens where they will be receiving powerful lessons and coaching around the subject of identity, values, purpose, leadership, all of that rooted in truth and faith. So I want you to take advantage of the next 24 hours, which is what is left for you to register and join us at the Thrive Leadership School for a transfer